Hey, welcome back, and thank you for joining me today. It's James here, connecting people, properties, and possibilities. Today, I have a special treat for you. I have Danny Alvarez of Stewart Title with me to discuss often overlooked parts of the real estate transfer. And you definitely want to pay attention here if you plan to ever own or sell your own property. You're going to hear about what dangers lurk beneath the ownership title to your property and how title insurance plays such a vital role in supporting your property rights. Well, let me get started with the very first question. Danny, what is title insurance?
James, thank you very much for inviting me today. Title insurance, unlike car insurance we pay for something that might happen in the future. Title insurance, you pay for everything that happened in the past. So we'll do a search on the property, but not only the property, James. A lot of people get that mixed up. We search property taxes, and the most important part, we search the name search. We search the sellers. You have a lot of common names. So we got to make sure our seller is who has any liens or encumbrances against their name but affect the property.
Man, that sounds very important to have title insurance. So tell me, what's the biggest risk in accepting a title without title insurance? Because I see it happen sometimes.
You know, James, we really try to tell people, do not transfer property without title insurance, even if it's among relatives. The biggest risk is if somebody who's granting out gives you a property, or you say, oh, you know, it's my brother, it's my uncle, and you accept that deed, it gets recorded of record without title insurance, anything that may have against their property or against their name, you just inherit all their issues. Examples, a child support lien, a judgment, any kind of lawsuits, anything, back taxes he has not paid. If he tells you, I only have one loan of record, you find out he has 2, 3 loans of record. Now, all those problems are your problems without title insurance.
Okay, well, based on that, man, what are some of the most common claims you've seen in the past 5 years for title insurance? Because I know trends change. Sometimes different type of fraud happens. So tell me about it. What have you seen in the past 5 years?
The biggest claims we see, James, in the last few years are forgeries. Forgeries are very huge. And most forgeries, sad to say, is family members. Children signing the parents' name, parents signing the children's name, grandparents' name, and those are the biggest thing that we see. And that's why when you get title insurance, we verify. So if there was a deed that somebody signed and there was no insurance, was that their intention to transfer it? Husband to wife, father to parents, anybody. But uninsured deeds, forgeries, and also one of the other claims we had is phony reconveyance deeds. Somebody's claiming their deed is paid for and they recorded a reconveyance from a large institutional lender. We see many of those happening.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. So they even do it for a large institutional lenders.
Definitely, definitely. Sad but true.
Wow. Now, Danny, are there times that title insurance can be denied for a property, like some properties that you will not be able to insure?
Unfortunately, yes, James. But it doesn't mean it's not possible to get it done. We have come across sometimes where there's a death of somebody and there was no vesting, like he was just a single person. We don't have a will, there's not a trust, so it has to go to probate. We might deny it at the time, but as long as they go to probate, get an attorney, do the probate process, once they get the court order, appointing somebody as the administrator of the state, then we can move forward. Also, going back on the other question, if there's an uninsured deed without title insurance, and we need to get what's called an uninsured deed affidavit. If we can't find that person who came out of title, maybe they left the country, they're not here no more, or they're deceased, and we need an uninsured affidavit, many times those are, where we will deny to insure them. But again, we can use process of going beyond that, asking different questions, maybe finding out where's this person, who notarized that deed. Different items that our attorneys and our office will look at, say, well, how can we help you, the homeowner, to get it insured?
That's very interesting. So it sounds like there's definitely specialized knowledge where it's not straightforward. We need an expert in the industry who knows how to work around all the kinks in order to get it insured. Am I right, Danny?
Very true. Very true.
Okay.
Very true. We will figure it out. We won't We won't tell you no. Just say, no, we can't do it. Let's figure out, let's find a way. Sometimes we find files, James, that were insured by somebody else a few years ago, and maybe they missed an item. Now they're coming to our company to insure. Well, we don't want to get involved in something that they kind of missed, and it's really their issue. So we'll tell them, look, we cannot do it for you, but if you go back to ABC Title, who insured it 2-3 years ago because they missed this particular item, most of the time they are on the hook. So they would have to insure it. So we will guide you. If we cannot do it, we will guide you where to go, what to do.
Hey, well, Danny, this question, experienced it myself where I've seen issues with it. And I want to ask you this. Is the marital status of the entity being spelled out on the deed important, and why is it?
James, good question. Very, very important. The problem is if somebody just puts, say, I'm Daniel Alvarez, my wife, Susan Alvarez, and they don't put our status, then we don't know. Are we brothers and sisters? Are we husband and wife? Are we cousins? So it's very, very important when you're on title, if you're husband and wife, are you brothers and sisters, single, married, widow, unmarried, never married? Need to know. Also, when somebody's on title as an LLC, we need to know, we need to get their operating agreement. Who can sign on behalf of the LLC? If it's under a corporation, we would ask for the corporate documents. Who signs on behalf of the corporation? Do we need one signature, two signatures? But very, very important, always to put the status of the people, what they are, whether married, single, anything, very important. And people miss it when you do uninsured without title insurance. But if you get insurance, we'll catch it and remind you, hey, you got to put some status on your deed.
That's very simple and good to know, and you'll be surprised. I asked that question because I've seen an issue happen with that before. I was selling a home for a seller. They decided to save a few $100s to transfer the title on their own. They transferred it to a trust. They didn't say that it was a trust. The trust wasn't, the document wasn't submitted. It did not go into the trust. The person who transferred it over passed away already. So instead of saving time and money, it still had to go through probate. So that's why it's very important to have your status and the type of entity that on the actual deed that you're using to transfer. All right.
James, one quick point also on that. On the trust, if they don't put the exact name of the trust, if say they missed the proper way, or the proper spelling, initial, that's very crucial. It's even on an LLC. Sometimes they'll put dot, so or miss the dot. If that dot is not there, that's important. The lenders cannot match it to the way it's put on the deed of trust. So it really has to be spelled out correctly. Every dot, I, T, crossed everything.
That's important to know. We'll keep that in mind. One last question for you, Danny. Everyone's looking into flipping homes, investing in homes. Are there any special policy for flippers or short-term investors out there?
Definitely. We have one that I think it's one of the best policies to get, especially if you're buying this property today for $500,000, put a little money into it, fix it up, put some cosmetic. You're going to put it back on the market for $650, whatever the amount. Yes, the policy is called a binder. A binder, as a new buyer, you're going to pay 10% more of the seller's policy. An example, if the seller's policy is $1,800, you as a new buyer, you're going to pay $180 more. Well worth it. So this binder is good for 3 years. And what it does, if you buy today for $500,000 and then you sell within these 3 years for $650, you're only going to pay title insurance on the difference, which is $150,000. So you're going to save a lot of money. Instead of paying policy for the $650, you're only paying for $150. And what did it cost you? $180 2-3 years ago. So well worth it. Binder, well-known secret of the title industry. We love to sell it. You should always issue it to your developers, builders, or flippers.
Well, there you go. We just exposed the industry secret right there. So make sure you take advantage of that if you're looking to invest or flip home, because I know everyone's been watching that HGTV and getting that motivation. So there you go. Well, there you have it, Danny of Stewart Title. This is just a very brief introduction. I mean, I can't possibly go over all the resources and tools available from this title company. But I'll tell you what. I still have access to Danny. I could call him at midnight anytime I want, right?
All the time. Or email.
Email, all right. So when we do sit down together for a strategy session, we can go more into the specifics that apply to you and what we can do to best service you. And if you have any questions, you already know, get a hold of me. And if you want access to Danny, let me know. I'll connect you with him right away. All right? Take care, and thank you for joining me today in this Real Estate Nugget. I hope you found it beneficial for you. Take care.
Thank you, James.